to Magic the Flavouring, the Magic the Gathering podcast where we talk about all things magic, flavour design and lore. I am your host, Andy Mann.
Hello, this is Nathan Cancel.
Yay!
There's going to be a few more times of that, right?
I mean, this is the 112th episode, and I don't get tired of hearing it. Today, we're going to be talking about Dominaria United, because of course we are, because that's the most current set. And it'd be ridiculous of us not to talk about it at least a little bit. And we're doing the flavour picks today. So you know the drill. We pick 5 things. They could be anything. They could be the artwork, a flavour text, maybe a collection of cards, an individual card, whatever it is. We're going to pick 5 little things each to talk about. So 10 in total. And both of us, previously discussed with each other off air, have also got a whole bunch more shit around it to say. So this episode, compared to other flavour picks episodes, might be a little bit sort of swifter moving through each point. We tend to linger on things for quite a while in these and pontificate.
Nah, we don't. We're fine. We're succinct.
I mean, it's fine. Do you know what I was thinking about our Flavour Picks episodes? Because the Vorthos cast do Flavour Gems, and we absolutely did not rip off that format to do Flavour Picks. How else are we meant to do flavour stuff if it's not exactly that format? And then, you know, people like Jen Ellie outside of that cast and, like, you know, a whole bunch of different creators do their kind of top 10 flavour things. And they're always like really detailed about like individual lore tidbits or like hidden stuff in the artwork or, you know, whatever else, this, that, and the other. And our flavour episodes always not devolve, but they always focus on things like, I really like this horse. It's never like
It's
we very
the
rarely
people's
do more
cast,
stuff.
man. We're not at that point. You know, we're not at Ristic Studies level of like, you know, because I thought about this the other day, right? Because Ristic Studies was recently on game nights, right?
Yes.
And it was quite nice to see his face. He's quite a pretty boy, actually. And it's kind of funny because I was thinking about just how to. That's literally my entire point. This has had to slip it.
What
in.
a thing to focus on. Yeah, he's a handsome lad. Oh, I said chap and lad. A handsome Chad.
He's a Chad. Yeah, fantastic.
He's not
Good.
a Chad. But...
Anyway, right, we're already devolving. The point was that I thought back to the YouTube channel and some of the videos we've done, and I'm like, we do know how to do like in-depth lore tear things, but this is podcast format, right? We don't need to be doing 5 hours of pre-research and stuff, and we're not delivering like the lore you didn't know about kind of thing. We're literally going, what do I like as a flavour player? What do I don't like as a flavour player? You know, with a people's cast. Maybe we should change the name.
Self-proclaimed people's cast.
Yeah, we're
you don't get any more people. Jesus Christ, you don't get any more privilege than that, do you? No, I agree with you. I do, because I do think back to like our earlier episodes, and indeed, so I think a lot of people did like this style of episode. So this isn't me saying they're bad, but I think a lot in our, maybe like even the first half of like the first 50 episodes or so, we did do a lot of research and we did do a lot of pre-prep, and I actually think some of those come across quite dry. However, they do have a lot of information on them, and I think maybe I just always find it funny, what do people who listen to us get out of these podcasts versus other very similar formatted episodes of similar contexted shows, do you know what I mean? But it's just funny because I'm looking at my 5 flavour picks plus all my honourable mentions and some of my whinges, and in a set like Dominaria United, where this is like flavour, like town, I was going to say something much more insightful then, but it's Magic Flavour Town because we're back in Dominaria. And none of my picks are anything to do with Dominarian lore.
Well, there's a difference between lore and flavour, right? Because this is my biggest thing about this set, and I'm going to come out straight out the doors, blasting. I just started blasting. Is that this is a lore-heavy set, but I actually feel like the flavour in general is surprisingly weak for a Dominaria set, and I think the problem is that it's too lore-y. When you have too much lore, the individual cards don't need to have as much flavour because you just throw, it's Yavimaya, or, it's just Keldon, and everyone goes, okay, so that's a loose headed from this place, or this is the thing. And especially when you're trying to do the entire plane, right? Here's a bit of Shiv, here's a bit of like, you just have to, when you have to touch a little bit of everything, which they did in a set like this, because otherwise someone's going to get annoyed about why didn't you mention Herloon? How am I supposed to do my Minotaur review of this set? Then, you know, so the problem with it is it's almost like, it's summer fruit squash a little bit. I feel like it tastes really, really good when it's nice and concentrated. You're not entirely sure what it tastes like, but if you put too much water in it and dilute it too much, it tastes really, I mean, all squash does, you know, all cordial does, you know, for those that are in America and stuff, you know.
Squash, yeah, no one knows what squash is.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel a little bit. So I found it very difficult to pick out like, oh, of course, this absolutely sings. And there are a couple that do that for me, but I found otherwise I just looked through and went, yeah, I mean, yeah,
I know
I guess.
exactly what you mean. I think another way to think about it, and this is maybe something which I think we've maybe hit a slight tipping point, because they've been successful in the past at balancing this, but maybe this set is the tipping point. I would say maybe arguably a few previous ones were, but we like them a bit too much. Is that they've done a really good job, a really fantastic job of packing in, right, they want to see this character, they want to have this person represented. Like you said, they've got to do all the touch points, and I think they manage it. But they've also got to make a functioning, like, limited environment, and they've got a functioning magic set, and you can't have every character. I'm sure we've made this point before, we must have done, but you can't have every character that's like a name drop character or a name drop to this, that, and the other be so functionally unique to what they are doing that, otherwise it'd just be chaos. It'd just be, the game wouldn't work.
Well, this is why the box stoppers aren't in the main set, right? This is almost a perfect example of if you're going to push the flavour to the character entirely, you have to remove them from the set proper, because they're going to do things that don't work in the limited format.
I agree. We're not doing the box toppers for now that you mention it. We're gonna maybe do those in a different episode, or we'll kind of figure out a way to talk about those at a different time. We're doing just the mainline set. We're not doing the commander decks either that have come out with this set either, unless you have, Nathan.
No, it's already too many fucking cards, man. And arguably, I find that sometimes the commander they have a completely different style of flavor. Sometimes that I feel like is something we could look at going back. We could go like, let's look at all of the different cards from the last, say, 5 years of commander decks, and look at all of the cards that are new made for the commander sets. How is the flavor? How is it functional? Are they just making another, I don't know, another this ability effect? Are they that kind of idea? Yeah, I know it's too many cards anyway. Fucking hell.
All right, well, let's jump into it then. I know we usually do honorable mentions at the start, but I think I think maybe we'll change up the format slightly. Let's do our main 5. We didn't discuss any of this beforehand. We never do anymore. It's just it's more fun if we just jump in.
Yeah. We've got this down. It's
straight ballers. I think if we just do our main 5. And then we'll do like a quickfire flavor at the end. New format idea where we just go, boom, this is a good idea. Honorable mention, I hated this. My feet are itchy. I don't know. Talk about anything.
Yeah, good. Okay, I'm down. And also, I guess we're not going to do a highlight of mechanics, right? Because, I mean, there isn't a lot to them. This is going to be one of my points, I guess, in the story back after. We're not doing like a flavor breakdown of the mechanics, for example.
We used to do mechanics, didn't we? Yeah. We dropped that quite a while ago because I think we found that.
Apart from Enlist, I believe, is the only new one. Otherwise, it's the main
do you know what?
Kicker.
Well, okay. A couple of mine are mechanic based, so let's just.
Perfect. Sweet. Right, so yeah, on in
I think we used to do 2, didn't we? Where it was like hardcore lore flavor, and then we did mechanics, and it was just one of them was always just so boring.
Yeah,
and the other one was always way more interesting.
It's fine if it's a new set as well that has a load of lore to break into, like Ikoria, for example. Like the politics and metaphysics of the world is really interesting. Whereas with Dominaria, we've been there a million times. No one cares. Like, whatever.
All right, well, if we're done tearing down the past 2 years of our own Labour of Love podcast, let's jump into it. What's your first flavour pick?
Okay, so mine's nice and simple. Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding is, I know, 5 and a white, a domain... What? Ooh! I like it. It's good live action. Right, let me scroll because my fucking internet's terrible. It is.
Come
5...
on, be ready.
I know, no, I know it's fine. It's just it had to, for some reason, reload all of the bloody pictures. Cool. So Leyline Binding, 5 and a white for an enchantment. It's got flash, domain, so it costs 1 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control, which can reduce this down to costing a single white. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Leyline Binding leaves the battlefield. Now, this effect isn't particularly interesting. It's in every set. I think it's literally in this set 4 times if you include all of the rarities. So, as an effect, it's a little bit kind of cool. I mean, I do also like how they do it each time. We started off with something like Oblivion Ring, went into Banishing Light. We had Touch of the Spirit Realm, I think, was in, for example, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I like the effect in general. I like this idea of temporary exclusion or whatever. What I really like about this, not only is the artwork pretty good at signifying this anyway, but as a card, 6 mana to get rid of something and bind it down is a lot for a mage, right? In terms of flavor, the fact that you're using the ley lines, so without any contact of any of them, if you don't have a single basic land, so your white source is coming from a dual land, for example, or a treasure, inevitably in the current standard of things. It's 6 mana to bind this permanent down. However, for each tap you've already got to the land, not even tapping, sorry, that tap's the wrong word, but each connection you've got to a basic land type, even waste I think technically counts for this, which is stupid, unless it's just, I think it even counts for waste, which is kind of silly. You don't have to use that mana. It's almost like you're already connected to that ley line, and then those ley lines work for you to bind this thing down. So I just like the idea that if you're already connected to all 5 of them, because it's always all 5 of them doing the binding in the artwork, you see it's all 5 colours doing it. You only need to do a single white. It's easy as anything because they're already working to you. The only thing that annoys me is from a flavour point of view, shouldn't that then be a green card? Because ley line magic is typically green. But I guess if every mage is tapping mana, because this is the thing, they're not having to tap the mana to get the effect, right? It's just by proxy of having a connection to all different types of mana. Like it's like Joda effects, right? I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, that flavor is a little bit off point, but I do just love this idea that it inherently becomes cheaper without even having to tap it for the mana. It just goes straight in. And it happens. And as an effect, I don't know, it just feels way more flavorful than a lot of the other types I've seen. Banishing Light, how does it come back? Did you turn the light off? Because I'm pretty sure he's throwing a fucking spear through Nyx. Like, what does it just reform again? So yeah, like some of them don't work as much as I think other ones do. I think this one for some reason just really sings to me. I think it's probably
I agree.
I think it's
they're really playing with the idea of doing 5 colours, aren't they? Because Joda's obviously a main part of the storylines. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
And it's Christy Balanescu is the artist. Just because I keep rating it, so good job. The light effect, fantastic. Neon strobe, gotta love it.
Yeah, really, really cool. Cool. Yeah, right, we're moving on. I told you we were going to be quick. Weatherlight completed. I'm going to say completed rather than complicated, because I feel like complicated is just wrong. We've been
fucking it up for ages, and we've just been digging our heels in. Every time I'm like, it's definitely just completed, but
it's definitely completed just with an A.
It is, yeah, exactly. We're just being, I don't know, completion as a kid just sounded so much worse than, but now I'm older, just the idea that it's completed but they've spelt it wrong, that kind of niggles me more. So I actually find that more unnerving than the word being slightly flexed into complicated.
Is that why, do you think that's their whole missionary statement? Is that, they just want everyone else to agree that that's the way you spell it, and so they have to spread phyrexia just to, get them on side?
Guys, it's completion. Guys, it's actually completion. We got it wrong this entire time. It was, in fact, we actually had a mother of machines all along. We've got a lot of our own law wrong. Could you imagine?
Weatherlight completed. 2 colourless for a 5/5 legendary artifact vehicle with flying. As long as Weatherlight completed has 4 or more phyresis counters on it, it's a Phyrexian creature in addition to its other types. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a phyresis counter on Weatherlight completed, then draw a card if it has 7 or more phyresis counters. If it doesn't, scry 1. With the incredible Adam Paquette art. Adam Paquette is sick, showing the Sheevan dragons flying after and having a bit of a dogfight in the air with the completed Weatherlight. I mean, the art is great, but I'm not necessarily going to talk about the art. Although I guess it's somewhat relevant. This reason why this is my flavour pick, aside from it being the Weatherlight, and this is now technically the 3rd Weatherlight card, but the 2nd one in sort of recent Magic. Recent Magic? You had the Weatherlight in 2018, right?
Borders.
2018.
Modern Border, Old Border. That's how I feel like the exchanges. Even newer folks that have only been playing 5 years, that's still modern era. I feel like even if you're playing 10 years, it's still Origins. Modern era. But exactly, Origins.
Modern in terms of time, Origin era, as an M20, whatever it is, and whatever. I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. So phyresis counters. This is my point. This is the only card I know that has phyresis counters on it. I'm pretty sure it's the only one that they've printed. And along with the swap up, are you going to check that out, dude?
I'm literally doing it right.
Yeah. I thought I could see that you were. This, along with the change up of how they're doing Phyrexian mana. So instead of doing Phyrexian mana symbols in most of the cards, I think the Ajani Planeswalker still has completed as a mechanic, which is how they've keyworded the Phyrexian mana. But for most of the other cards in the set, they're doing this, it's more of like a static ability on the creature itself rather than a mana cost symbol.
It is the only one.
Thank you. Yeah, cool. Phyresis counters just seems to be a really slick way to convey the sort of powers and mechanics of Phyrexia. I think. Do you not? You're tutting at me.
No, I'm thinking that, they could definitely use that in the future, right? As a plant. Because they could do phyresis counters in Brothers War and then have it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's exactly. I think this is what they're testing the waters out. I mean, testing. They've already printed.
How do you complete things? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is them kind of just leading into it and kind of maybe putting something in the standard meta. I love the idea that, you know, the more Phyrexianized the Weatherlight is, the more part of the Phyrexian sort of mantra it becomes, and it becomes just its own creature in and of itself, because it's the idea that, you know, the Weatherlight is an organic and machine melding entity, because the living wood that makes the hull is mixed with the Thran metals that, you know, make up the whole ship itself. It's the idea that this living organism is being Phyrexianized and doesn't need a crew to fly it necessarily. I love the idea that if your creatures die, you're just offering their flesh to make this Weatherlight ship more efficient, because then it gets to draw you cards and all this kind of stuff. You know, so it's just, I think, just as a showing like a like a dark side Weatherlight, if you like, versus, you know, the sort of regular Weatherlight we got in the 2018 set. I think it's just a home run. It's an interesting design. Again, the artwork's really rad, and flavorfully up and down, it just kind of works, you know. I think vehicles have the potential to be kind of broken mechanically, but they always seem to lean flavorfully into vehicles. I'm struggling to think of one where the flavor doesn't always work, and they're always pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. They're kind of like the new Saga for me in terms of they're a new swing on a card type that we've seen before. But it's kind of, again, it's that halfway between like a creature and an equipment, right? And I've really, really, really enjoyed the fact you cannot crew it otherwise, right? This is not a crewable. You can't pilot the weather. Like this feels like a way more alive version of it than it's ever felt before.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't even necessarily tweak that. You're right. It doesn't have a crew cost. It is just the counters and your creatures dying. So you're effectively crewing it with creatures that are dead.
With the flesh, yeah. Because I originally thought the original reason why it has 4 to do it is because it lost 4 crew members, you know, being Tiana, Arvad, Gioira, and fucking Raph. But then I thought, well, it's also
it'd be Sisay and Raph, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's that thing. It didn't. No, it's not Gioira. Sisay instead. Oh no, Siana. Sorry, Shana. God, names.
Shana Sisay.
And then I thought, yeah, you don't have Slimefoot counted in there. So I was kind of thinking, like, maybe the reason it took killing 4 of the crew to then eventually have enough flesh to be able to...
Now. There were no bodies, and some of those characters have cards in the set.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mean those crew. I mean, like, just the red shirts. The red shirts, you know, because I realised at the end as well, because I read the story with Braids, and they do survive the end of that. So it just took the death of 4 random crew members across the course of however long for it to then have enough flesh for it to then correct. You know, in general, I just like that idea. As you say, if the more crew members upon it that die, the stronger it gets because the flesh just gets added to it. I like the fact it's just some badass. I'm ready to throw down Airship, just being some badass, you know, doing like donuts in the air and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
I imagine
certainly looks
badass.
cooler. Certainly looks cooler than the other flying ship in this set.
Oh yeah, it's right next to it, and I literally looked at it and went, "No, you're not getting mentioned." Oh, and then we mentioned it. Fuck, we mentioned it. Damn
anyway,
it.
That's it. Weatherlight completed, Phyresis counters, the whole deal. Excellent. Moving on.
Cool. Right. So Yosha declares war. Quick aside, I guess we'll talk about is read ahead. How do they keep making sagas better?
Well, read ahead's going to be one of my flavor picks, so
cool. I'll ignore that. I'll ignore that for a second, then we'll come back. Because that was going to be an honorable mention if we didn't get round to it. But I specifically really like this card, mostly because you look at it, and like this is the best thing about some sagas. You look at it and you go, "What's going on here?" I mean, okay, it's an artifact card. It's a red artifact card, right? From a commander player point of view, I always look at these and go, "Are all of the abilities synergizing within something that one of my decks wants to do?" If you're playing like a Felden deck, is this going to do enough? You know, are all of the abilities worth it, kind of thing? And with read ahead, it kind of doesn't matter as much. But again, we'll touch that later. The reason why I put this up is because when I first looked, I was like, "Who the fuck's Yosha? Who are they declaring war with? This is the Phyrexian War." And then I was like, oh, right, of course. This is that thing where they've gone, this is Dominaria. Stuff happened in the past. And actually, the flavour on it is horrendously on point. I say horrendously. I don't know why I said horrendously. God,
it's so terribly on point.
It's awfully on point. 1 second. Let me just wait for this bloody Reddit page. There we go. So the idea was that this is kind of the beginning of the Brothers' War, which is also really interesting because it's the idea that when they got split on like years and years ago, Mishra and Urza got split and put on basically 2 different faction sides. Urza, to make up to the father of the courtesan that he was kind of like, you know, interested in, made their side a bunch of ornithopters, and then the father-in-law betrayed them and then basically planned an attack on the nomads or on the opposing side without Urza's know-how, which then represents the second ability in dealing damage. And then what was left behind was the automatons that Urza then orders to protect the father-in-law after the father-in-law has started this war without him. So it kind of each point for a card that kind of seems a bit messy. It's like, well, you're making a 0, you're making a 0-2. Okay, cool. Then you're pinging some things, and then you're beefing up to a 4-4. It kind of can feel a bit clunky. Once you know the story, it's like, oh, it's absolutely perfect. Yeah, ornithopters, ambush, and then upgrades. Fantastic, awesome, love it. And I just love that sagas can do this. It can make me go back and go, I even remember reading this part because I had to do a bunch of research for the Urzalands video, and I kind of had to, weird enough, I had to skim a bunch of history, and this is a bit that I skimmed, and then they go, oh, it's fine, you don't have to worry about skimming it. We've condensed it into a little summary, into a card, into a saga for you. There you go. Enjoy. I just love it. I love that I can look at a card and go, what the fuck is this? And before, but in 10 minutes later, I know a whole other part of Magic's lore, you know. And this was the start of the Brothers' War, which is great because they printed it just before the Brothers' War set. So, set synergy.
It's sort of like they know a little bit about what they're doing.
Crazy, right? Crazy. I mean, that was just one out of all of the sagas. I mean, I guess you're going to have one, but it was one out of all of the sagas that kind of then tipped me to go, oh, you don't know enough about this, so it's obscure, but actually there are, you know, it's clearly hitting the points one for one, beat
oh yeah,
to beat.
Sure.
Big fan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to continue with the sagas then. I'm just going to roll straight into read ahead. Yeah, you're right. They've just kept making sagas better. How can they? This is one card design. That's like a linear card design, and they keep doing new shit with it, and it's always great. And it never diminishes, in my opinion, any of the sagas that have come before it. I don't look at the Kaldheim or the Dominaria 2018 sagas and go, oh, I wish they flipped, or oh, I wish they had read ahead. Like they just function.
They've all got their
own
own little utility, right? And if you add, say, like read ahead to the Kamigawa style, you could go straight ahead to putting the creature out. Like it adds so much extra utility. I mean, the only issue is that it's the story structure. We've always said every plane has stories. I feel like Dominaria can always deliver harder because the stories are more well known, and as like with my last card, they're more well known. But in general, I don't. Again, what's 5 sets now? 5 different forms, or 3 different forms, 5 sets of sagas, and we keep putting them in our flavor picks. They must be doing something correct.
Yeah. So read ahead, just to give you what the mechanic is read ahead. Choose a chapter and start with that many lore counters. Add 1 after your draw step. Skipped chapters don't trigger. Sacrifice after the 3rd chapter. So all of the sagas in this set have 3 chapters, just to make it nice and simple for the reminder text. And yeah, you just get to pick where you start. So obviously with sagas, traditionally you'd start the first chapter, next turn, next one, next turn, next one, till it's done, and then there might be an effect afterwards. This one you can start wherever, and it just adds that extra bit of utility. Now, the reason I like it, Flavour, this is a Flavour podcast, is that what I took from it, I took 2 things from it. One slightly meta, which is more of a sarcastic glib remark, and one's an actual like flavor idea. So the actual flavor idea is I kind of like this sort of thing where, you know, a lot of this storyline to do with the Phyrexians coming back is about characters having to sort of like relearn how to fight the Phyrexians, right? So we're sending Teferi back in time to learn how to do the Silex. A lot of the more modern rulers of Dominaria, this is the first time they've seen Phyrexians and whatnot, and it feels almost like they're skimming the annals of Dominarian history, desperately trying to find the relevant information. And it's like they're like looking through all the books and they're looking through all the tomes, and it's like, oh, it's in this chapter, quick, flip to that chapter, quick, go. And they're just grabbing all the bits of information they need to use in the moment of whatever they're doing. And it for literally a card type that is all about having to wait your turn and develop things and let things meter out. They are, as card types go, quite a slow one as an inherent part of their design. But now they've given them like haste. Now they've made them feel like alive and like immediacy, and it's the same kind of thing
modal,
I felt
right now.
Modal, yeah.
Which is interesting because you shouldn't choose. I guess you get to choose how the story's told, which is very interesting. Instead of just having to retell it.
Yeah,
they did. Like, no, we know that bit. I know that bit. That's not important. What we need is just skip to the end. It's fine. You know?
Yeah, exactly. They did. I feel this is how they similarly treated the gods in Amonkhet and then in Kaldheim, where the Throsian gods, where we had 2 sets of those. I mean, not obviously, we had the Amonkhet ones in between the second Theros one. Anyway, how the Throsian gods, because of the style of the god that they were kind of more static, and it took a while to get them to be sort of like manifested. But then the Amonkhet gods were creatures in their own right, and then the Kaldheim gods were gods, but they didn't necessarily have indestructible. Just all these kinds of things, or they didn't have a way to come back. And they developed and sort of changed their kind of flavor. What's the word I'm looking for? Their kind of spirit, how they're meant to be played, and I kind of feel like they've done the same thing here with sagas. So I mean, I'm not going to give a specific example. All of the sagas in the set follow this, and I think they're all incredibly well done. I'm going to retcon something we said in a previous episode. The Cruelty of Gix, which was from the first online web fiction story where we saw this tablet. That's definitely, I don't think that's Elspeth that Gix is tormenting.
No.
I think that's Zancha.
Oh, it is. Yeah, Zancha. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, no, it looks like her as well with the headband. Yeah, makes sense. Now, it's because we didn't have the full artwork. I think we were talking before, where the crop they had was mostly focused on Gix. But yeah, no, it makes makes perfect sense. Yeah, we're not doing. It wasn't a throw forward to Elspeth conflict.
No, I like on Urza Assembles the Titans. We do get obviously the Titans, which includes Commodore Guff.
Yeah! Any more references to him, we really can't be upset, right? Come on.
So divisive as a character.
He's so going to get him. Eventually we're going to get him. It's going to happen. I'd put money on it. I'd put money on the fact we get a Commodore Guff guard eventually.
My glib remark about read ahead is perhaps I know this as a reader myself. I think it's maybe a slight comment on how people consume media and maybe the unrelenting production of product from Magic the Gathering. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Get to the next one. No, skip to the chapter ahead. I don't care about that.
Or when people just don't read their cards properly, like, no, don't worry about the first 2 lines of text. They don't matter. It's like, no, but what's your card do? It's like, no, it's just this bit that matters. And it's like, you don't have to read the other bits. Yeah, but what do the other chapters do? It doesn't matter. They don't trigger. Ignore it. Just the bottom chapter. I like that. It's good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Good. Oh, we're back to me. Oh, God, too many tabs. Okay, cool. So, another really simple one, and what I like about this is that I just tend to have one line after it, and then we can open up the discussion a bit further. Ajani, sleeper agent.
Ooh, I'm glad you mentioned him. Yeah.
So the reason why I like him, and I'm stealing, I think, the exact words out of someone's mouth when they said this about Ajani themselves, is that if you take away the Phyrexian mana in the top, and take away, obviously, then the completed line of text that kind of goes with that, because you wouldn't know in play, his mana cost doesn't matter, right? How he was cast doesn't matter. But in play, you read down his abilities, and you're like, cool, +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it on the bottom of your library. Cool, that's an Ajani ability. Nice, cool Ajani ability. I like that. -3, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 3 target creatures. They gain vigilance till end of turn. Cool, yeah, that's Ajani. That's cool Ajani stuff. Yeah, cool. His ultimate, sweet. You get an emblem. Yeah, cool. When you cast a creature or planeswalker, yeah, super Ajani, sweet. Yeah, target opponent gains 2 poison. What? So his card is a sleeper agent, as well as his character being a sleeper agent. His artwork in the main art, you couldn't even fucking tell if he was in the Phyrexian.
Yeah.
He's not like that other douchebag. What's his other douchebag? Sten. Of where they released his artwork in the story before you knew he was a sleeper agent, and in the art you can see he's a sleeper agent. Which breaks my immersion of his character entirely, because how could no one else, especially Khan, not see his bloody metal going into his chest or whatever?
Oh, I like Sten. Sten was a cool character.
For his narrative functionality, yes, but don't go. Oh, one of them is a sleeper. One of them might not be trusted, and then give us a picture that directly, immediately shows you. Unless they're being misleading, that it's whatever. That's just Wizards handling their story poorly and their media poorly. But yeah, so I think Ajani does exactly what he's supposed to do, and that's convince. Always, every sentence is just punctuated with "fuck you, what's he?"
We wonder why we don't get preview cards. My God.
And one day we will. It'll be great. Cool. So yeah, so the thing about Johnny said, yeah, again, unless you're casting him yourself, obviously you're going to know about the sleeper agent thing. But if you're not, then I just think that the card does a lot better what it's supposed to do compared to, say, Tamia, right? Tamia, the shock was for the audience of, oh god, she's a Phyrexian, where there's no duplicity necessary. So it's pretty obvious with her spotlight eyes and stuff that she's actually a Phyrexian. Whereas with Ajani, it's kind of interesting that they managed to do a really good job of. Again, had they released the artwork, that exact artwork, no one would have known.
No.
to say some of the other artworks they've shown where he's got the orange eye and his hair is Robotnik. How do you turn dreads into
I was just about to say that his braids, they've made them fiber optic. That is stupid as shit for the
But
artwork.
also,
I'm sorry.
but aren't braids basically fiber optic hair? The way that it's weaved and stuff is more
No.
is more akin to. Okay, cool, good, great.
Also,
Just deny.
Another dumb thing, and this isn't anything to do with. So you got Matt Stewart, Thomas M. Baxter, Adam Rex, and Victor Adame Mingus were the 4 artists to do treatments on Ajani Sleeper Agent. Ridiculous.
Why not just do 5? I guess the playset, right? So you can
Right.
playset it.
Well, I mean, you can play set it with. Oh, well, they've got the Phyrexian one anyway. So it's not their decision to give him that because they've obviously got an art director. I think the Adam Rex one's the only one that doesn't have this art guide. Oh, and the Matt Stewart one, but both Thomas M. Baxter and Victor Adame Mingus obviously had the same art direction because they both had the same things. So you've got the fiber optic braids, and then his right arm. In fact, both of them have these like weird like horn-like growths that are growing out of his hands that then also wrap around his double-headed axe in one artwork. How's he meant to maneuver his axe around if it's now like wrapped around his arm bones?
Yeah, I know. I agree. I mean, that's probably my favorite out of the 4 of them. But yeah, it does make. I mean, it's Phyrexians, right? I guess it's now part of because they're just like they're like
Phyrexians,
how
right?
is this?
Phyrexians, mate.
How is it? How is this beneficial? They're like, all will be one Phyrexia. We're perfect. It's like, but there seems to be too many extra. There's no such thing as extra arms. All glory to Phyrexia. It's like, do you ever vet? Have you got an audit? No auditing. Just glory to Phyrexia. Okay, never mind. Guess what? Whatever. You're wasting a lot of metal here, guys. You could be way more efficient. So yeah.
But yes, the actual design of the card is really clever. I completely agree with you there. Like the main set, Ajani Sleeper Agent, is cool. And in fact, on Twitter, people were going, "Thank you for giving us a non-Phyrexianized artwork, so we can still have Cat Dad without him being Phyrexianized."
Mm-hmm.
And I was, as much as like I said last time, don't necessarily share their outlook. I do appreciate it, and I think Wizards do too.
Well, the Adam Rex one is basically copium, right? For those that aren't happy with it,
yes,
they're like, we'll pretend he looks the same as he did in Mentor for Here. Everything's fine. Ignore the ultimate. It doesn't matter. We just +1 him. We'll just +1 him, Johnny. You're fine.
We'll always pay that mana. We'll never pay the life.
Exactly. Oh, fantastic! I love it. Good. Right, what's your next one, buddy?
All right. Well, I mean, from one Sleeper Agent to another, my flavor pick is Banalish Sleeper, which is a 1 and a white Phyrexian human soldier 3/1. It has kicker for a black mana, and when Banalish Sleeper enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, each player sacrifices a creature. Even he didn't know what he was until he felt his skin shifting and splitting, his mind overtaken by a chaos of whispers. I mean, this is the kind of hero card from my sort of my flavor point here, and it's basically the whole John Carpenter's The Thing theme of this set, which was obviously a much bigger. It actually doesn't feature in the card gallery as much as I thought it would, compared to how integral it is to the story and how much it was represented in the web fiction. But just the whole, regular citizens of Dominaria being sleeper agents, and things just getting a little bit weird. And now, instead of Phyrexians being this thing where only a few of the main characters and just kind of hordes of faceless body horror people are Phyrexianized, now it's like Dominarians are being Phyrexianized. So you have Banalish Sleeper, Citizens Arrest, which is another one which has amazing artwork and
such good artwork. Yeah.
Really, and another one of those removal spells as well, where you kind of bounce something out. Defiler of Faith by Magali Villeneuve is the artwork.
The Defilers in general, man.
Yeah,
like,
they're all
I mean, I
cool.
think the black one and the white one are the worst looking in terms of like, you're like, oh my god. But I think that's because they're much more obvious perversions.
Yeah, and then Phyrexian Missionary, which is another one. I know, so those are all the white ones. I do know that the other colours all have them as well, but the white seems to be the one which really leans heavy into it, and I think is the most juxtaposed. Like, I also like, what's the one? Something Undetected. What's the green one? I'm looking at.
Threats Undetected.
Thank you.
Super
That's
sexy
a really
Phyrexian.
Cool one. Yeah, sexy Phyrexian elf sleeper agent. But yeah, so all of these cards are obviously really, really cool. Super unflavorful and super flavorful, super on theme for the set. Love it. Again, some people won't be a huge fan of the fact that we're going to have basically a year of this stuff, but I am, so
Well, for the set that probably would have the most of it, it didn't seem to have as much as I expected. You know, there are plenty of cards that are just a random wizard in a library. I'm literally looking at Academy Lawmaster. That could be happening anywhere. None of this has anything to do with the Phyrexians being there. It's not like it's on every card, right? It's not like
yeah.
it's just enough for it not to be a predominant thing. If any parent were to look through the pack of cards, for example, automatically go, "Oh, this is disgusting." Because if every card was, then I think it would probably be a bit too polarizing. The fact there are sneaky bits
Yeah.
in there also, I guess, plays to the flavor, right? They're not overtly
Yeah.
Phyrexianized of the Dominarians yet. They are only in little sneaky bits. And where would you least likely find them? In the white, which is probably why you find it most alarming when you can see it on the white cards.
Yeah,
So,
100%. And I think it's a neat little trick, because I completely agree. And I think Dominaria in general, I was thinking this as I was going through the cards. It's a little bit like how we said it's so flavorful, it's almost not flavorful in a way. That Dominaria always tends to be, even though you have your signifiers, that it's like, the stained glass of the Banalish Knights and, the Sheevan Dragons, whatever else. It is very much just Magic the Gathering fantasy. So it feels a lot more corset-y, I guess. And also
I'm so glad you said it.
yeah.
God damn if this isn't just a core set.
But
It's
I
so
like it.
strange.
I like it. I think it's
I
nice.
love it. It's what
Yeah.
Dominaria should be. Fuck Chandelier, just keep doing core sets in Dominaria, but make them interesting. Don't make them for beginners, because that's not how you make fire design cards anymore.
People don't care about having beginner sets anymore anyway.
No,
beginners
vanilla creatures
want to play Commander.
Yeah, we don't want vanilla creatures. First standard format without vanilla creature in it. Does anyone care? Nah. More text.
Not really.
More sides. I want a third side to my magic cards.
Yeah. Phyrexian Sleeper, though, or Banalish... Oh, God, I forgot the name of the card I'm talking about. Pardon me. I'm very burpy today. Banalish Sleeper. So this card in particular, I think, is a real flavor hit for this trope. Aside from the sick flavor text, the art, which is awesome. I'm looking at a low-res version. Josu
Hernes. Yeah,
Hernes. Thank you. The whole card is obviously a flavor win, but it's the black kicker that I'm really interested in. So I love the idea that because kicker is an additional cost, you can just cast this card for 1 and a white, and it then becomes a very serviceable, especially in limited. It's common as well as that common, a very serviceable 3/1 human Phyrexian or human soldier for 2. Really cool, really solid. You put that kicker cost in, you put the black mana in, and Phyrexians are predominantly black mana sort of as their baseline, because, Yawgmoth was a black mana creature. And then he has a second ability where it's Banalish Sleeper enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, each player sacrifices a creature. So it's only when you want to, for want of a better phrase, Phyrexianize the Banalish Sleeper from your hand that it does the thing where it, bursts out and suddenly starts killing everything in sight. You could, if you wanted to, especially if you're playing like a limited format or a constructed format, you could have as many of these in your deck as you want. And then you play out the first 2. Oh yeah, they're just Banalish Sleepers. And then the third one comes down and suddenly shit hits the fan. I really like that idea. It's so super simple. This isn't like highbrow flavor. It's simple and it works amazingly.
Yeah. I guess the only way to do it better would be somehow have some morph effect with it. Because I think that's probably what they probably look to try and do, right? Is they're probably looking to try and find the best way to show a completion process, but without it being any of them could be kind of thing. I guess the problem is once you know the card, you kind of lose a little bit of that shock value. As a player, it's not as if someone played a dragon and you're like, oh, cool, the dragon from the set. And then you go, but this one's Phyrexian. You go, what? You already know that the dragon's going to turn into a Phyrexian. So it's kind of hard to subvert. But yeah, absolutely. I like this idea. You can just go, yeah, just white deck. Yeah, just white deck. Yeah, or play a swamp. Oh, never saw it coming. Never saw it coming.
Yeah. As a sort of sub honorable mention for this card, and then we'll move on. Aaron, Banali's Ruin, which is the legendary creature, the black-white uncommon legendary from this set, who is Danitha and Rafkafshin's father. In the story, he gets Phyrexianized. This is him as a Phyrexian human. The artwork is fucking sick. It's got Banalish armor, and then the stained glass windows in the Banalish armor are all melting out of his armor. That's right.
The way they did this with Benalia, really, I feel like that's the thing that sold it more than anything. This idea, and in the story as well, we spoke about how they all just suddenly go, negotiations are over, and then all the guards launch in. The switch of Benalia and Argivan Knights, I think, is so much more striking because they're so true, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the Benalish, for God's sake. I mean, I feel like, it's very interesting to see them converted because it feels so much more galling than just say a random. I don't know. I did feel sad about the Carvu, actually. I was like, oh no, they got to the Carvus. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, it's Mark Winters who is the artist for Aaron Benali's Ruin. And yeah, I think my last little point, and then we'll move on, is exactly what you said. Following on from that, is that you do get this black white trope of like the kind of true just knights or the true church or whatever. And we talk about this a lot when we spoke about the vampires on Ixalan, or indeed my favorite guild, the Orzhov, where black true thing, white true institutions actually having that selfishness and corruption of black is something that's kind of not played out, but is employed a lot. Whereas in the context of Dominaria, the white factions are really perfectly sort of, true justice, valiance and all that kind of thing. That is what they sort of stand for. So when you start adding the black onto them in the context of Dominarian white factions, you do start to get some kind of real gut punching moments. And yeah, again, all the artwork for the Phyrexianized Benalish Knights is really cool.
Yeah, let's pause on Joza as well, because I'm looking through the rest of their cards, and it's things like Curator's Ward. They did like the treatment for Curious Pair, like the story book, the adventure treatment, alternative treatment. They did Diabolic Intent. I'm looking at this name. I'm going to pay attention to it going forwards as well, because they've got some really good cards in here. Some really, really good cards. Coolio, right, tab. Cool. Right, you already took Weatherlight completed, which is great, because I don't have to do it. So this is an interesting one, because here's one that started as a bugbear, and eventually turned around to being, actually, maybe I don't mind. Joda, the Unifier.
Right.
So, before, he was Jeskai Colours, wizard, knows all the spells, everything, you can cast anything for just the 5 colours of magic. Where is any of that?
His 5 colour mana cost.
But he wasn't 5 coloured mana cost before. He was only 3. He could cast all of the spells and any spell, and using all of the magic mana to do so. So that originally irked me, right? Because I'm looking at him and I'm like, in the story we don't quite get to see it. He just every now and again does a portal and then gets tired about it because he's an old man, bless him. We don't get to see, and I guess he did get the cards in the initial Dominaria set, like that. I was like, okay, this is actually delivering what I think he is as a powerful mage. I think we had this conversation about Baron as well. I got really angry about when they redid Baron. It was like, he just bounces a thing. He literally blew up Otaria. Like, why is he just bouncing a thing? He blew up a continent. So the thing about Joda the Unifier that kind of turned me around, though, was that he's basically a legendary lord with Cascade mixed in. So 5 colours for a 5/5 human wizard legendary creature. Doesn't have flying anymore either. Can't flap. He's too tired. Legendary creatures you control get +X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, any spell, not just creature, exile cards from the top of your library so you hit a legendary non-land card with less mana. You may cast a card without paying its mana cost, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Legendary Cascade. Fine, cool. The thing I like about this is that as much as I don't think it works for his lore as a mage, as Joda the Immortal, the thing I really like about him is the fact that this is him in the moment in this story. He is trying to unify, as much as we didn't see much of it apart from going to get the elves, and that was about it. The fact that I guess he also got the goblins, and he spoke to all of. To be fair, actually, now I think about it, in the story, he did do a bunch of running around and unifying people. It didn't ever feel like there was a moment of unification. That's what the thing I think the story dropped is: at what point were they united? At what point did they go, "We are now the new coalition"? There was no moment of that. Which
no,
kind of
they
sucks.
didn't really. No.
But I like the idea that it's a cascade effect, right? Oh god, a cascade. No, sorry, it's a domino effect of where every time he recruits one legend, it begets the next legend, which begets the next legend. Like we even said, the goblins were the first ones because they knew the other ones would join, but wanted to be the first. The I've already forgotten what their bloody names are again.
The dragons, and the Viashino.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Thank you. They all going to fall into step after the dragons did, and it's almost like this idea: if you play the legendary dragon, and then it casts into the next one, and then it gets into the next one, but you have to do it from hand. So he has to have the knowledge, so it doesn't cascade naturally. He has to put the effort in to get this to work, and then when they're all in play, they all get boosted by each other's coalition effect. He is the coalition as a card, right? You could just have this as an enchantment and just say reforming the coalition. Legendary creatures all have that, and it still does the same effect without it being Joda. But he was the effect that made this happen. He was the one going around doing all of this. As much as I don't think it had as much gravity in the story as it should have, clearly it showed with his card. And as much as I was annoyed that it wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to do, and he wasn't like some guy who knows all the spells in the world, in the moment, in the flavour of this set, in the moment of the story, what he is doing is unifying, and good God, does his card not do it. So I went from being like, I hate it, to being like, oh, actually, it's perfect. So, and that's what cards should do, right? Like, you should be like, oh, that's not what I expected. And then the more you read into it, the more you're like, actually, that fits exactly with what he's doing right now.
Yeah,
which
interesting.
will
That's
lead.
exactly my sentiment on this Joda card. It wasn't the Joda card I wanted, but it does make sense for the set for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Was that all 5 of your flavour picks then? Because I did the Weatherlight.
1, 2, 3. No, I technically had one extra. So that's fine.
All right, okay.
That's
well,
fine.
I'll make my next one quick, and then we can move on to that one then. Very quick, because it's not a big sort of like lore dive or anything. I'm not a big goblin guy. I'm not a goblin boy when it comes to Magic the Gathering. Goblins, along with squirrels and cats, seem to be this kind of memeable creature type that, like, there are so many like high-profile content creators, for example, that really ally themselves with goblins. Way too many, in fact. Come on, guys. There are other creature types out there.
Yeah, fuck you, Modster. Yeah, fuck you, Spice Rack.
Spice Rack, Monster, Jay and Ellie, Goblin Lore Podcast, the Commander Sphere. Load of them.
Players.
They all love him. Exactly, they love him.
Get an original tribe, guys. Get an original tribe. Oh, why not? Are you the advocate for birds?
I have found my goblin, and it is a 1 and a black for a 2/1 Phyrexian goblin by the name of Splatter Goblin.
Yes.
You seen this card? It's a
common. Of course.
It's when Splatter Goblin dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And the flavor text reads, for some, perfection is but a single moment when form and purpose converge. Rona. And the art is by Lars Grant West. This might be one of the most flavorful cards in the set, if I'm honest with you. So it's a Phyrexian Goblin that's been hurled out of a Phyrexian skyship, and it's got a big vat of poison on its back, and it's basically being used as a poison grenade. It's just being chucked out. So when it dies, which it will do on impact with the ground, target creature and opponent controls gets -1/-1, which is essentially a poison counter's worth of damage. The flavor text does what it's like, says what it does. The card says what it does. The art says what it does. You can't get any more flavorful than than in Magic the Gathering than that. Nice little callback as well to Black Cleave Goblin from original Mirrodin set, which has now been errated to be a Goblin Zombie Phyrexian, because it was originally just Goblin Zombie.
A goblin. Wow, God, this Phyrexian type line thing really, really gets clunky after a while, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, they probably wouldn't make it zombie now, would they? They'd just stick on Goblin Phyrexian.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also another 2/1 zombie. But those are the only 2 Goblin Phyrexian cards. So it's kind of nice to have them there.
Interesting.
And that one has Infect as well, which puts a -1/-1 counter on something. You see?
I guess the question is, why did there have to be a goblin attached to the vat of acid? Surely they could have just chucked the vat. Is he aerodynamically planning where he's landing, and that's why they needed sentience on it? Creates a question, right? Maybe that's the only function they had for goblins. Like, they're too unruly. Chuck them out. Chuck them off the edge. Use them as weapons.
I feel like this is exactly the conversation that someone in like a boardroom on Phyrexia HQ is like. Someone goes, "We've been making these splatter goblins. They're working really well. Can you describe to me what they do?" "Yeah, sure." So we strap a vat of poison to a goblin's back and we kick them out of the ship. Awesome. And what does that do? Well, when the goblin hits the ground, the vat of poison explodes and something dies. Right. What does the goblin do?
Sorry? Yeah, what does the goblin do? So, we didn't have any use for the flesh, so we thought we'll keep the flesh on him instead of wasting metal and completing him. We'll just shove a vat of acid on his back. Okay, actually, that makes more sense. Okay, cool. We fixed it. We've solved it.
So does the goblin help the vat explode?
Exactly. Does he have to open the vat?
Does he explode it? No. Are these vats able to explode on their own? Yes. Okay. Why do we not?
Does he have to walk off the edge? No. We bodily throw them off.
We push him.
Yeah. No, he doesn't do anything. Cool. So we need the goblin. Absolutely, it's fundamental. It's the basis is start goblin. We start with the goblin, and then the rest of it works. Without the goblin, we don't have it. Amazing. No one sat in the corner going, "Oh man, I'm lording over a bunch of idiots."
Yeah.
So
fuck goblins, I guess.
They've got a Valium, guys. This meeting's going to get long. Love it. It does give me Lorwyn vibes, Black Goblin from Lorwyn vibes, of how it's kind of like Face Vaulter, Fodder Launch, that kind of idea, Noggin Whack, that kind of return to Black Goblins are cool, man. Black Goblins are the best goblins.
Black Goblins are cool. All right. Moving on, what's your next flavour pick?
Yeah, so my last one's really, really small, really, really short. It's just a quick question. How is the Silex now Khan's Silex? Isn't it just the Silex? Why is it Khan? I mean, I guess it's because the Silex was a card, right? But can't they add an interesting like narrative word to it to make us more intrigued? Like, I guess it's called the Golgothian Silex before, right? So they could have just called it, the Silex, like they did with Weatherlight and the Weatherlight. Why is it now Khans?
I like how a lot of your flavour picks are actually complaints.
You have no idea. I had a top 5 complaints with honourable mentions or positive instead of the other way around, and then I dialed it back a little bit. But I mean, so okay. The actual real question is that cool. It's basically a take on Pernicious Deed, which I like. I should probably read what it does. 1 second. Scroll. So it enters the battlefield tapped. It's a 3-mana legendary artifact. Players can't pay life to cast spells or to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Fuck you, fetches. It also then has X tap, exile Khan Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana X or less, activate only as a sorcery. Basically, it's a redux version of Pernicious Deed, which did the same thing, not affecting planeswalkers. It specifically only destroyed artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and did I say artifacts twice? Specifically those 3. Yeah, it didn't affect planeswalkers, whereas this does, which it should, obviously, because planeswalkers are now, killable. I like the fact it comes in tap, so it almost takes time to work out how to use it, which within the story it takes Teferi's going back in time for a reason. They've got to work out how to use it. My question is this going to be? Does it also serve a function beyond the nuke effect, which is it stops Phyrexians being able to cheat on mana with the Phyrexia mana thing? Because that's kind of what it's doing, right? Is it stopping you doing the Defiler cycle? Because that's the only thing it really affects in the set, as I can tell, apart from maybe every now and again there's a minor ability that's sack a creature, pay 1 life kind of situation, which will obviously be more of a Phyrexian flavoured ability. So is it just kind of stopping this idea of like, is it supposed to specifically mention, reference how it's stopping Phyrexia using mana, and maybe that might come up in the story in the future, or did they have to give it some more utility because they had it come in tapped?
I mean, I can give you an answer that I think makes sense, but definitely isn't the reason.
Perfect. That's all I want.
Yeah. Well, if this is Khan Silex, Khan fucked up because he hasn't detonated it, and so it doesn't destroy anything. It's just him fighting the Phyrexians, right?
That's in law that it's like, well, he didn't get to use it. It always remained tapped.
Yeah. Khan Silex. Oh, that thing was shit.
Got it out for a turn, didn't get to untap with it, gets broken, that's it,
Yeah.
boom. That's what happens, right? You play it in law, you play it, and then someone just goes, I'll just shatter that.
And then in Brothers War, what we'll get Urza's Silex, which will have a wrath effect on it.
Oh
and
my
then
god, yeah, but it'll come in
March
untapped
of the
or
Machines,
something.
yeah, in March of the Machines, or whatever subsequent 5, 6, 7, 8
Khan's fixed
Phyrexian sets we're going to
Silex?
get. No. It's going to be Teferi's / Saheeli's Silex. And then that one will do it all.
I like it. Good, yeah. Saheeli's fixed Silex. It just gets
No.
passed
Both their names on.
Both
I'm not saying one or other. I'm saying it's going to be Teferi's
/
Saheeli's Silex.
Is this because Khan's got Urza's / Ventz's Spark inside him? Khan just really loves just sitting on this. That's great. I love that. That's perfect. That answers all my questions. I take it back. This is good. Gold.
And the artwork is going to have Saheeli and Teferi doing a high five in the middle of like an exploding Silex. And then Khan is in the background, like with like a fucking face on. He's just like, oh, I wanted to do the Silex. My Silex is cool.
My Silex, guys. If I can't, and he crushes it. If I can't have it, no way. It says it on the card. It's Khan's Silex, guys.
Yeah,
it's great. This is top.
I'm going to go talk. Content. I'm going to go talk to my drilling machines. They like me.
My only friends are categorically not alive. They actively can't survive without me. They need me. What a fucking parasitic friendship.
Maybe Urza had it right when he didn't treat Khan with any respect.
When he gave him the ability to feel pain and sorrow, yeah, he deserved it. Deserved every second of it. Leave Khan alone. He did nothing wrong. Apart from ruin the entire fucking timeline. Quite cool. Should we get onto some Moni honourable mention stuffs?
No, because I've got one more flavour.
Have you still got one more? You have. Sorry, I went first. Never mind. Carry on.
Fucking rush me.
Russian.
I mean, this one's fairly quick, just because it speaks for itself. Dominic Mayer might be Magic the Gathering's greatest artist of all time.
Fucking right.
I mean, he's not, because Chris Rahn is. But I don't know what Wizards have been doing to not give Dominic Mayer like every card that's ever printed. I was
Whole
about to
set,
say,
mate.
sorry.
I was gonna say, give him a whole set, mate.
Oh, give him a whole
Not even a
set.
secret lair. Just do the whole set. Go
Just
for
give
it.
him the whole set.
You'll be painting for 3 years, but give him
Yeah.
a whole set.
Because but also it's not like he hasn't. I will say it's not like Dominic Mayer's not had stuff to do. So looking at his card gallery, he's not been in Magic for a long time, but he has been since Zendikar Rising, where he got a couple of main set cards and a secret lair card. He did a bunch of Mystical Archives, Time Warp and Negate being my favourites. I pulled a foil Time Warp, a Mystical Archive card. I was very happy with that, and Negate is fucking rad. Did a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch of them actually, scrolling up. Did a bunch of cards in Crimson Vow, Abrade. His Abrade is fucking sick. Neon Dynasty. So like Nuka Penna, absolutely amazing. A whole bunch of cards, right? A whole bunch of cards is my point. They did the showcase triomes for Nuka Penna as well. Cloak of the Bat in the latest Baldur's Gate set, which I said was the art of that set. So it's not like it's not like I don't know Dominic Mayer is around and doing his thing. But like I've noticed a few times where I've really honed in on one or two big names, where I'm like, these people are the future of Magic, whatever else. Like Wiley Beckett is obviously like the new sort of like darling for me, if you like. I forget actually that some of these other artists are like I sort of get blinkers, tunnel vision, even though it's like kind of my main thing on this podcast. Like our sort of main focus is like, yeah, let's look at the artists and do all that kind of stuff. And then I get blinkered and I realize, wow, some of these artists have been putting out so much work, and Dominic Mayer is one of them. Every card in this set is a masterpiece. So you've got Heirloom Battle Hymn, Cut Down, Braid's Frightful Return, Rona's Vortex, and Protect the Negotiators, which also doubles up as the worst card name in the whole set. Maybe in all of Magic.
Well, the thing is, the negotiators quite literally never happened. Like, that's the whole point. There's a line in the story of like, they never negotiated. This moment never happened.
Yeah. Next to Chandra Dressed to Kill, this might be one of the worst card names ever printed. Protect
we need
the Negotiators.
An episode where we go through and find I need to find worse names than Chandra Dressed to Kill. I'm sure I could find at least 10 that would make you go, all right, yeah, fair enough.
The problem is that I'm not a huge fan of honing down on or bullying one person who's a creative, but they don't tell us exactly who comes up with what card names. So my worry is that we do an episode where we're like, oh, all these card names suck, and it turns out that one person wrote them all. And it becomes
but other people will
job.
like them, right? We're not universally correct.
That's very true.
Are we not? Right?
That protects us from all slander and libel.
Exactly. It's just an opinion, bro. It's just a prank, bro.
On Twitter, Braid's Frightful Return was a card that Dominic Mayer was talking about, and he said he wanted the art style. I think he's a digital artist as well, by the way. He wanted the art style to resemble a child's crayon drawing, like you kind of like find in horror films. Because apparently, Zach Steller was one of the ADs in this set. Amazing Zach Steller. I'd love to get to talk to him. He was told that he wanted a horrifying scene. He wanted this Frightful Return, but no blood. Absolutely no blood allowed. And so Dominic went, well, children's drawings can be frightening without necessarily having blood everywhere. Let's go for it.
So what's that red stuff pouring down from the altar?
That's just
grape juice.
That's just red.
Grape juice.
Those are like tabards, like flags, aren't they?
Oh right, of course, yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. Fair. Cool.
Protect the Negotiators. I can't. So terrible. That artwork. So I remember so vividly when the Strixhaven reveal video came out, and they were doing that thing where they show a bunch of arts for about half a second, and they kind of flip through them in like a PowerPoint. I sort of stood up out of my seat when Sudden Breakthrough came on the screen, but obviously you don't know what the card names are. This was the art of this reveal video when they did Dominaria United. I was like, holy shit. I immediately knew it was Dominic Mayer just because of the art style. But this was the art where I went, this set, if all the arts are like this, it's going to be fucking amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to, I've gushed about it on Twitter. It's not even like I can say this is the set that's shown Dominic Mayer off, because actually he's done more cards in other sets. But for some reason, this is the one where it's just made me go, hang on a minute, why have I not been looking at Dominic Mayer a little bit more closely? You know, so yeah.
I think the big thing about Mayer's work is that there's got two very distinctive things. One is it's either very, very symmetrical, which makes my eyes immediately go, yay, symmetry! Because I had Dominic Mayer down as my honourable mention artist. I have another one as well that I think that you'll probably noticed as well. Or they do slightly off center, but like at a jaunty. Like I'm trying to think of like say Tamio's completion alongside All Is Dust, for example, where it has a
Yeah.
central theme just off to the center, and it's always at a slight angle. I love it when artists have a specific, not just style to their art, but a format to their art. You know, like I
Yeah.
love this idea of a symmetry. I love the fact that it's Fire Song and Sun Speaker in the Hurlon Battle Hymn, which is a really
Yeah.
nice throwback to them as well. Like it's great. And as you say, yeah, the Braid's Frightful Return, I think, might be my favorite artwork of the set, just for how it's different, not only from his own style, because it does have that very distinctive, as you said, he's like, I want it to look like this, when normally he wouldn't necessarily do that. But I also just like that visceral quality to it, that the freakiness of Braids in that picture is fantastic as well. Like, yeah, like unbelievable. The only card I think that is more striking in this set is my first honorable mention, and that's Jaya's Finado, which another really terrible card name. And that's because I think, oh god, why is my honorable mention not where it should be? Go back, up, or down? Is it down? Oh, there we go. Jeremy Wilson. Jeremy Wilson is, I think, going to be another. We need to keep an eye on him because
Sure.
let me just quickly get up the rest of his cards. So Bone Splitters is also in this set alongside Jaya's Finado. They also did I think one of my most favourite artworks from not Dominaria, Kamigawa Neo Dynasty with Return to Action. They did the Embereth Shieldbreaker alternate, which is one that everyone's very aware of. And then they also did the Revival Experiment, which I can't even tell you what set that came from. I think it was in the Commander deck for Witherbloom for the Strixhaven.
Sure.
And it's just got this very, I want to say it's basically pop-up Beckett. That's what I like to think of it as, because Wiley Beckett's like really wind down on the color saturation. It's almost like very chalky effects. I think they even have a card in this set. It's a white card, still really beautiful. But I like this reduction on tone they have. Like Brilliant Restoration has the same thing where they've kind of pulled back on the tone, whereas Jeremy Wilson really goes full on block. Like let's go. And I don't think Jaya's Finado is necessarily a complicated art piece, but it's the one where I'm scrolling down, my eyes cannot help but stop for a second and go, damn.
Yeah, I
And it's
did
just got
notice
this
the bone
amazing,
splinters as well.
yeah, like the red effect going up with this. All it's got is the white of the person. It speaks to the action that's happening way more sometimes than a lovely detailed photorealistic bit of artwork, you know. And I'm really glad that they keep bringing in more people like this. We asked for it and they keep doing it, so I'm going to keep asking for it because otherwise they might stop. But yeah, clearly this is the kind of direction I really like. Yeah, what a fantastic artist. Really excited to see what else they do.
Yeah, for sure. Very much agree. All right, I'll do one honourable mention, and then we've got to do quick fire flavour, where we just do like bang, 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 2 sentences. What's your bugbear? What do you like about it? And go. So this is my honourable mention, and then we'll jump into that. And this is another artwork one. So again, podcast listeners, this is Campbell White's Writhing Necromass, which is the black sort of common beta in the set. Writhing Necromass, if get it up on your phone or your laptop or wherever you're listening to this, and just have a look at this fucking artwork.
It's awful.
It's horrifying. So just after talking about like, you know, Wiley Beckett's and Dominic Mayer, like, and all these artists that have a much more sort of abstract or non-photorealistic art style, right? I think this is very obviously where your and my eye gets drawn to a lot of the time, and rightly so. Dan Mumford's another one of my hugely favourite artists in the game. And I think I always take for granted the fantasy realism artists, because it's almost like, well, that's the baseline for this game. This game is the best looking game on the world. It is for a reason, and it's usually through a fantasy realism lens. And so I kind of get like sort of, you know, I kind of get a little bit blind to it. And then a card like Writhing Necromass comes around, where you look at it, and then you look at it closely, and you want to press your face up against the screen and have it burn into the back of your retinas, because you realise just how fucking good and detailed, and the movement, and everything about this piece of artwork. Like, that is a Renaissance painting that you would find in, like, you know, the National Portrait Gallery or something ridiculous like that. This is incredible work. Having the giant Colossus giant with all the different bodies puts me in mind of Vincent Pruse's Diagraph Colossus, which he won a bunch of awards for, or like again Vincent Pruce with Eat to Extinction and Croxer.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. It also reminds me of the Hogarth as well, where I think he's a writhing
Necromass. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Writhing Necromass is this card, sorry.
How do you spell Necropolis? Man, I am so bad at English.
Sure, Hogak. Yeah, we all know what Hogak is. That was an English card. Yeah, no, exactly. All of, I mean, obviously those that Hogak, Writhing Necromass, and Diagraph Colossus, all very much similar sort of like motifs of giant creatures made of the bodies of others. but they never fail to disappoint. And this one is almost unique in the fact that it's being lit like by a sun and like a sunny sky in the background that puts it in a different light way than the other cards in its kind of family of art, if you like. The way the horse is moving and the knight on the horse and like the splash up and the hands reaching down,
He
it's just.
must be shitting himself.
I mean, this is
shitting himself. Honestly, imagine the hand that's reaching out to you as it gets closer has hands that reach out to you. Fuck that. No, I'm alright, mate. Thanks.
Yeah.
Dominaria, you can go fuck yourself.
So that's my honorable mention is Writhing Necromass, and we need to pay better attention, as in me and you need to pay better attention to Fantasy Realist, because that shit's tight, yo. All right, quick fire flavor. We're just gonna bin through, pick a card. What do you not like about it? What do you like it? Throw it back to me. Let's go.
How big do you expect a 3,000-foot tall tree to be?
I don't know. How big do you expect a 3,000-foot tall to be?
Bigger than 3-4, that's for sure. Do you know, in Flavour, it's supposed to have eaten Rith, and it's smaller than both iterations of Rith. How does that make any sense? The biggest thing for it, read all of that card and tell me that it's not Slimefoot, and then they went, oh, no, we need to put Namata in the set. Oh, well, Slimefoot's on a load of artworks. Fuck it, we'll put Namata on the Slimefoot card. Everything it does is a Slimefoot card, but they decided to make it a 3,000-foot tree fight. How does that make any sense? There's no justification. Zero justification. Don't care. It's a subtopic we'll get onto about power toughness, moving into lore and how some of them don't make sense. This one, no sense. It's 3,000 foot tall. It's a 3.
All right, you're done. Buzz, done. Liliana of the Veil. Okay.
Thank you.
Love the fact they've got given us a Liliana of the Veil that's not just porn. Stupid idea to put Liliana of the Veil in a meta where she doesn't use the Veil anymore. Even stupider to give the excellent main set artwork I'm going to fuck up the name, by Mytina Fakova. Amazing artwork, shows the vulnerability of Liliana with her past in the mirror. She's wearing her old Liliana dress in the mainline set. Stupid decision, whilst the Strixhaven Professor Onyx is relegated to the borderless art treatment. Artwork by Brom. Dumb decision, don't know why they did that. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, I guess all art has zombies in it. She doesn't make zombies either. The whole thing, it's a cold plant. It's a cold plant. I can see it, wizards. You didn't trick us. You're fools. Raven Man. Not a human wizard, an illusion, surely, or a ghost, or a spirit, not a human wizard. Okay, I don't care that his card's disappointing. Fair enough, he discards cards, he makes Raven. Sounds good. How is he not an illusion? He's not a real man. He's not an actual, real, corporeal man. Fuck off. He's not a human wizard. Done. Move. Next.
Urg, Spawn of Turg. I mean, you've killed the frog beast trope, haven't you, wizards? You gave us the Gitrog monster. And
you think it's a meme, don't you? It's not a meme. He's got flavour. Turg has literally a fuckload of flavour. He's a psychically linked frog to Laquatus. He's not a meme.
But they've made it.
Sorry.
No. But
they have made it a meme. They have made it a meme. Yeah.
You can't have two legendary frog beast monster things within like a couple of sets of each other. That's stupid.
Oh yeah, the Yargle thing. Yeah, because it makes no sense because it was the Yargle part of his name came from the maggot that got eaten by the frog. So it actually doesn't have got anything to do with the frog. So why have you then done this other frog? You know, Urgle. I've come to Burgle.
I'm talking about that Yurlog. I can't remember the stupid names. It's the frog that's in Crimson Vow that's meant to be the son.
Oh, the Omnivore.
Yeah, whatever that one is.
Oh, is he supposed to be the son, canonically?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, fuck. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so they have done Frog Daddy before. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I get it. Cool. Yeah, fair.
Dumb. Moving on.
It's a shame. I really, really like frogs. That might be my new favourite one. Rada, do you want me to do Rada or do you want to do Rada?
Oh, no, I didn't do Rada. You can do Rada.
Rada, what the fuck is she doing? You've got 3 amazing cards, and what does she do? Enlist things? Does it make sense from a thing? No, she's the one on the front line. You've got Garner literally calling her out in her flavour text, and Rada's card's worse. Unbelievable. Ridiculous. Give me a card where the 2 of them are fighting. Make me a Jund, attacky, fighty card with the 2 of them trying to fight over who's the biggest badass in Keld. Fair enough, cool. But what did you do? You killed the poor girl. Bless her heart. Don't even bother. She's not even in the set. It's not worth it.
Aaron Miller's artwork for Joda's Codex is fucking sick. It's got Joda's Codex. The artwork is a book which has all the different sort of placeholder tabs, is all a different color of mana, and then the page gilding around the edge is all rainbow, which is amazing. My annoyance is, why do they keep making books in Magic, as in book cards that represent books? Why are they all universally crap and unplayable in any format?
Yeah, they all just draw a card, but really clunkily. I guess because book smart ain't good smart.
You heard it here.
In
book
Magic
smart
Land.
ain't good smart. You fucking nerds.
Yeah, fuck you, Strixhaven. Burn down the Biblioplex. It's pointless.
All right, I've got 2 more. You go.
Yeah, I've got one last one. My last one is, okay, we're getting too ridiculous with how many characters are still alive in this. Not only on top of all of the other normal ones that we already have that are still alive, that are immortal, which is ridiculous, we've also now got Solkanar, Rith, and Urtai's back. Fuck off. Can we just let new characters have new cards and stop giving old characters new cards?
Thank
Stop it.
you.
Everything needs to die. Please, can things die?
Please,
Rith
can
came
things
back
just die?
Yeah, Razaketh, not Razaketh, fucking, what's its name? Daragaz, because Rith felt the soul of it, it came back. Somehow, Rith came back. It's literally the fucking beginning of episode 9. Somehow Palpatine came back. I hate it. Same with Urtai. Urtai resurrected. How? Doesn't matter. Why? Doesn't matter. He's back. Fuck off, wizards.
Please send us a preview card. Archangel of Wrath. Very cool little flavour beat. Clearly meant to be an angel that is based on a chroma, like canonically, and also just art-wise, because we don't have a chroma card, because why would we? Holding the Sword of Vengeance, which is obviously a really cool equipment. That was chroma's equipment. The card Angel of Wrath has Flying and Lifelink as an ability, and not Trample, Haste, First Strike, and Vigilance, which is what the Sword of Vengeance gives creatures. This is a creature that is literally holding the Sword of Vengeance in its fucking hand.
And doesn't have the abilities. Does a Chroma Angel of Wrath have lifelink either? I don't think she does, right? God, what a fucking flavour fail. That's delightful.
And I will finish off on a nice thing, rather than us just screaming and swearing at Wizards of the Coast. This set has Thrill of Possibility. Great Thrill of Possibility. It's a great little cantrip. Love it. The flavor text reads, the most delicious ingredients are often the most dangerous to obtain. Asmorano Mardi Kadaisin Kaldakar, the Underworld Cookbook. We have the 5th iteration of the Underworld Cookbook flavor text. Yay!
It never ends. Fantastic. Love it. Good. That was nice. I like that. We actually way more nice things to say than I expected. And God, I like quick.
I don't understand why. This set is cool.
Good.
I don't know why we're being so negative on it, but yeah, it's a cool set. I like it.
It is. I think I don't know why. It's weird. Like I would say individual cards wise, if you were to ask me what is it, I'd be like, just like it's not that some of the cards don't fit. I think just overall it doesn't quite feel super flavorful. But then I feel like it delivers the way it should do. I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't quite hit as a home run, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it does feel a little bit corsetty, and it does have that feel, but in a good way. If this is the standard for like a core set, I'm very, very happy. But it does feel a little bit. I don't know. I guess it's because Domain and Kicker kind of, I feel, this is another question we should probably look at in the future, is the flavour of Kicker sometimes works really well and sometimes just feels tacked on. And I'm like, and that's, I think, and the same with Domain. I'm like, cool, but there was no real focus on being from the different parts. It's not like you're a traveller from across all the different parts of the world. So how does this random beast have Domain? I don't know. I feel like, and then List was a little bit meh. I feel like that's a very big thing. The mechanics themselves are a bit meh, but the cards themselves are interesting.
Yes.
I
think, this is definitely setting the stage to some sets that are going to be... It's definitely got a lot of little placeholders for things that are to come. So I think that's where we're at. All right, well, dear listener, if you want to tell us what your flavour picks of the set were, you can hit us up on Twitter at MTFlavouring. Emails go to @MTFlavouring. No, they don't. Why do I always do that? mtflavouring@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is @AndyManFace. Nathan's, yours is...
At the Fox in the Moon.
Excellent. Right. That's it.
Good. I'm knackered.
You can go home now. Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your journey, or whatever you do. Enjoy finishing cooking dinner. If I listen to podcasts when I cook food. Keep well. Stay safe. All of those things. Nice things. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been Magic the Flavouring.
We'll see you soon.